Hey everybody, it's Miss A, and I'm here with our science recap, our science lesson recap. We did two things in science. We spent a good portion of our time doing our recap video or our recap lesson on research. The kids were able to have time to work together and produce their research. So parents should actually be checking to make sure that they have finalized that. They were given time in class to actually write it out, and I will do a little recap video on that in just a moment, but I wanted to put this lesson up first. This is the recap on our science standards. We had to learn about how heat transfers and good and bad conductors of heat. So our standard is it is that heat transfer and conductors of heat. So here are the texts. We learned about heat. Our essential question, let me show you what that is. So our essential question was, why does an object change temperature? So we will focus on that, and now let's look at the page. So, and our temperature, that our focus was heat. Think about a pizza in an oven. Heat from the oven spreads through the pizza. The crust of the pizza starts to cook. Sauce bubbles and cheese melts. Finally, the entire pizza is hot and ready to eat. So what we learned from this is that we take a cold pizza and put it into a hot oven. What happens then is the oven then transfers heat to the pizza and cooks it. So that explains our flow of energy. Heat always transfers from a hotter object to a colder object. If it transferred the other way, we would put a cold pizza into a hot oven, and if cold transferred to hot, then the cold pizza would turn the oven cold and we would never have cooked food. And I'll show you the notes in just a moment that they wrote. So how did the pizza get hot? Heat from the pizza oven flowed to the cooler pizza. Heat raised the temperature of the cooler pizza. Heat is the flow of energy from a warmer object to a cooler object. Heat raises the temperature of objects. So right here is talking about heat flow and heat transfer. Now here's the second part of the standard, which was conductors of heat. You might have noticed that some objects heat quickly while others heat very slow. Good conductors of heat allow the energy to flow through them easily. Metals such as silver, copper, aluminum, and iron are good heat conductors. So what the children were to get from this is that a good heat conductor heats up fast, which is why we have metal pots for our oven. We don't want it to take longer to cook, so the heat in the from the oven or from the stovetop will heat the metal pan, and it will heat up rapidly and allow us to cook our food. And metals are a good conductor of heat, and the children can relate to that because the pots you use on the stove and in the oven are usually metal. Cloth and rubber objects do not conduct heat well. We can use these materials to protect us from hot things, such as a pot on a stove. Wood, glass, and plastic are other materials that do not conduct heat well. So what we learned here is that a poor conductor of heat is something that we could use as a barrier or something that can protect us to a point, which is why when a fireman goes into a fire or a fire person goes into a fire, they're not dressed in metal outfits. They have on cloth because cloth has a poor heat conduction system, so it takes longer for it to heat up. Now, it's not that it necessarily won't ever heat up. We know that wood will burn, but it takes a lot for wood to burn. If I were to put a piece of wood in the oven, I couldn't get that to catch on fire. It would just get warm, but it wouldn't catch on fire. So in order for it to be a poor heat conductor, basically it can stand the heat and protect you. When you go to grab a pot out of the oven, you use a pot holder. So the children have to do an exit ticket. They had to do number 2 only. The exit ticket is, does a wooden spoon conduct heat well or poorly? So they're using these 2 pages to answer the first part. Then they have to explain their answer. So that's explaining the understanding of heat transfer and heat conduction. This is their exit ticket. My second science class, my afternoon science class, did not have time to complete this. There was a little bit of chit-chatting, so they have to complete that and turn it in to me tomorrow for standards credit. That way I can check and see if they understand the standard that was taught. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, just send me a message, and I'll put this up a little closer so you can read it. Does a wooden spoon conduct heat well or poorly? Explain your answer. Only number 2. Thanks for watching.